Well, Lynn, thanks for joining us today on the Real Estate Podcast. And we really appreciate you coming by. I just kind of wanted to take a couple minutes and talk with you about your company, what you do. And so if you could just kind of introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your company and what made you get started.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks, Brent, for having me, and it's great to be here. So, um, kind of long story short, I've been doing construction pretty much since I graduated high school. Spent a few years in exteriors. Did that for a few years, then went into more of a residential whole home build construction, and been pretty much doing that ever since. Um, we've been in business for is about 5 years now. We focus mostly on remodels. That would be like kitchen, bath, whole home remodels, basement finishing, that type of thing. We do a little bit of work for realtors as well. Typically getting homes ready to sell, any maintenance issues, once a buyer's bought a home that needs to be fixed, that type of thing. So.
Okay, great. You say exteriors, like all kinds, like stucco, siding.
Yep. So mostly residential,
Uh-huh.
but that would be like you said, stucco, like hardy board siding, lap siding, board and bat, roofing, soffit, fascia, that type of stuff.
Okay.
So,
Great. Well, I know we used you when we sold our home,
yep,
and we're really glad that we did. There was a lot of work to be done. A lot of times people think, "Oh, I can just put my home up for sale,
yeah,
and it's market ready, it's picture ready," and that's really more often than not that doesn't work that way. And
no,
so I'm glad we gave you a call. Talk just a little bit about what are some of the common things that you see when people do opt to do a little bit of repair work before they list a home. What are some of the common things that you see?
yeah. So what I see a lot of the time is typically nowadays, pretty much any buyer's going to end up getting an inspection, and any issues on that is gonna on your home is gonna show up on that report. A lot of the times people believe they can fix these issues themselves, and some people can, some
Hmm.
people can, um, but throwing up just a little bit of paint and drywall isn't always the answer there. But a lot of times you see people, um, they'll end up having like a wall patch, drywall. They'll try and fix it themselves, and it just doesn't turn out to look very good. A lot of the times, it ends up getting called out, and there's some questions, concerns as to why it looks the way it does, that type of thing. Also, when it comes to homeowners replacing electrical fixtures or plumbing fixtures, that type of thing. Um, they can be hooked up incorrectly. So having a professional come out and take care of that for you is probably the most important thing you can do there.
Yeah, it's funny. I happened at my daughter's house. Also happened with another house that we walked through that we were thinking of buying years ago.
Yeah,
If the patch isn't exactly right, it ruins the whole room
it
because you
does.
scan the room and you come across and you're like, "What's wrong with that?"
Yep.
And you immediately start putting the questions. Okay, what caused the hole? Was it flooding? Was it just a simple moving of
Yep.
furniture and it went through the wall? So it's good to not even bring that into the picture.
Exactly.
So what usually takes the longest, like for you, uh, when you're looking at like, okay, I need a couple of weeks to get this done? Because usually people will make a decision to sell and they want to
Right.
list and they want to be on the market right away.
Right.
What kind of things take a little bit longer to do?
Yeah, so if you're looking to do something fairly simple, a couple patches, paint this wall, it's nothing too crazy. It's fairly simple. If you're looking to go through, paint a whole home, which is probably one of the better things you could do, um, then that's going to take at least a week for a smaller home. If you've got a larger home, it can take up to 2 weeks, because we're also going to want to go through and probably patch all nail holes, any scuffs, dings in the wall. We're going to want to take care of that kind of stuff as well. So going through and painting a whole home is probably going to take a while to take care of. So,
And would you suggest they maybe take a short 3-day vacation? Does that
if
does that speed things along or?
yeah, if possible, that would be great. I know always it doesn't always work out that way
Uh-huh.
when you're selling a home, buying a home. There's kind of that time period where it'd be great if you could be out, but it doesn't quite always work out that way.
Mhm.
But definitely if the homeowner can be out of the home, for a few days or a
It
week, it
helps.
helps out. Yeah.
So, well, that's good. Expense wise,
Hmm.
I like for instance when we had our conversation with our house,
Yeah.
we opted the first thing we opted to do was paint because
Yep.
it was very the bang for your buck is there.
Yep.
You're not spending a whole lot of money, but you're getting a really good result. Is
Hmm.
there anything that sometimes surprises people as to the expense, and they're like, oh well, I didn't realize that was going to be that much.
Yeah.
Have you ever run across something like that?
Yeah, so I mean, especially in the last few years, prices for everything have gone up. I
Uh-huh.
mean, I get emails like all the time from from my vendors, my suppliers saying, "Oh, prices are going up, fuel prices are going up, so they gotta increase their prices." Um, but painting, I feel like a lot of people look at painting and think it's gonna cost less than it is.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
Typically, a good range if you're just looking to like repaint the whole home. If you start at kind of that like $3 a square foot mark and kind of work up from there, that $3 on the low end would be, a one-tone paint, repaint everything that same color, um, and then, it goes up to two tones, three tones, that type of
Okay.
thing, and price increases as well. But another thing I feel like people think should cost less than it does would be like a bathroom remodel. If we're just going to go in, change out the floor quick, replace the vanity,
Hmm.
usually people are expecting that to be, I'd probably say 40% less than it
Than
usually
what it
is.
is.
Yeah.
What about roofs? My neighbor, I for years I'd look across and I saw
Yeah.
the one or two shingles that, were off on the roof.
Yeah.
Can that get pricey too?
It can get really pricey, yeah. A lot of the times, that's one of the things that homeowners neglect in terms of, you see it every day. It's never had an issue, and
You
kind
just
of,
push it away.
yep. You just kind of push it away. I mean that can be one of the bigger expenses on your home as far as maintenance and life expectancy goes. Um, I mean, a smaller home can be, 10 to 12,000, and bigger homes can reach 60, 70,000, just depending on, what kind of roof you have and the size of it. So,
Yeah, and matching shingles and things. I imagine that would potential water damage.
yeah.
It's one of those things that I know I had solar panels on my roof, and because the pigeons got underneath them, it started to have issues with the roof and the gutter, and
Yeah.
that was an expensive fix.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. Well, what about do-it-yourself projects? I mean, things that people think, "Oh, I can easily do that myself.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start it." What is the most common thing that people start? They get halfway through and then they give you a call.
Yeah. Typically it seems to be drywall. They'll say, "Oh, we put a bunch of holes in this room, or we decided to remodel this room ourselves. We're going to finish it." They usually can hang the drywall themselves. When it comes to the finish aspect, they'll do, probably a few hours worth of it and realize it's not going the way they expected it to go, and
So
end up
like the
giving us a
taping and the
call.
mudding or the
Correct.
texturizing or
So usually they don't even get to texture. They'll like I said they'll hang it and they start to tape it and mud, and they realize it's just not working out for them, and then they end up giving us a call. So
well, and if the roof is too high and you're trying to get up there and do it and you're not used
yeah,
to being on, I always admire the guys on the stilts, I was
yeah.
like, "Man, I'd fall right over."
I,
But
I tried it once and fell. It was
there's
not
a
a fun
skill to it.
experience.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, for
All
sure.
right. Well, so before we close everything up, what's the one thing? Because you do this a lot.
Mhm.
What's the one thing that you think would be helpful for homeowners to know if they're looking to either sell a home or maybe
Mhm.
they're looking at a home that they want to buy
Yeah.
and they see some issues? Uh, is there something that you would like them to know so that before they get too far into the process, that they could give you a call?
Yeah. So I'd first off say, you get an impression once. You get an impression first impression outside, get a first impression inside. So making sure, the outside and, entryway of your home is really well taken care of. Um, when you have those buyers come through, you want them to look at the home and say, wow, this is an amazing home. We want to be here, and can envision themselves being there. As far as that goes, probably the one thing that would help out the most is a repaint of the home.
Hmm.
I know we talked quite a bit about paint here, but
Yeah, yeah.
it really is an important thing to go through. You don't realize how many years of dust and love, we'll call it love,
Okay.
you've put into your home.
Yeah.
If you've got kids, right about that 2.5, 3 foot mark, there can kind of be a dirt line there that you might not realize. And baseboards get scuffed up, and where you had your pictures, if they were there for 3, 5, 10 years, you can sometimes get a rub line where your pictures will just kind of slightly rub the wall, and you'll see it at different angles. So if you go through, do a good repaint on the home, it ends up looking really good. So
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. My grandkids will walk around and they'll just put their hand out
yeah.
just for something to do,
Yep.
and they drag it along the wall, and you never know where they've been. And sure enough,
Yep.
you get the line.
Yep.
I know that we also, just real quick, when we also listed our home, we did our garage.
Yeah.
Do a lot of people opt to do the garage flooring? I mean, we didn't have like a toy garage, but we did have space enough for 6 cars.
Yeah.
I liked the extra workspace, so we just built it in when we built the house. And when we decided to sell, we did a really nice flooring job
Yep.
there in the garage, and I thought it was fantastic. Do you have a lot of people that opt for that as well?
So I'd really say that depends on your situation.
Uh-huh.
Most homes, they have anywhere between like a 400 square foot garage, 4 to 550, 600 square feet. Yours was, if I remember right, about 1,000,
It
maybe
was
just
it was big.
a little over 1,000 square
Yeah.
feet. And in with your home, that would have been one of the main features of that. Like you said earlier, being able to have 6 cars in there, someone who's either got project cars or likes to tinker in their garage or their
Yeah.
shop, being able to put something like that in is really important, really key. Kind of like I said, first impressions. The first
Yeah.
impression of that garage is amazing. You've got a nice finished epoxy floor, and then you've got all the storage space with your closets, with the cabinetry that was
Hmm.
put in. It just really made that area pop. As far as other people goes, first impressions are important. If you have an asset like that, we want to make that look really good and appeal to maybe a very specific person, and that could in fact be the selling point of the home. So
All right. Well, great. Well, Dakota, thanks for joining us today.
yeah,
Lynnwood Construction. If you're looking to, uh, buy or sell, it's always. I'm so glad that I called you guys.
yeah.
It was a good choice, and I'm really glad I didn't try and do the projects myself.
We're glad to. We're glad to.
So
So
thanks so much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.